Hello, and welcome to Nuts About Baseball, a podcast that will entertain you with discussions involving everything baseball. I'm your host, Joe Grimme, and I appreciate you joining me. Sit back, relax, and enjoy as I share my passion for the sport we call America's pastime. Welcome, everyone, to this episode of Nuts About Baseball. I'm your host, Joe Grimme, and today I am joined by Chris Kidney. Chris, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, and happy belated birthday.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm another year older. A good day above ground's a good day. 53, and you don't take life for granted at this age because, anything can happen. Being a lawyer, handling a lot of probate work, I've done estates for people that are in their 30s, and it's crazy. So I tell everyone, live life to the fullest and just try to do the best you can. So thank you very much. Appreciate that. I've interviewed a lot of people on this since I started back in November of 2024. A lot of former players, coaches, various people around the sport, but I've never interviewed anyone like you. Tell me what you would call yourself. I've read some articles about you online, and one thing called you a thrift shopper, but I want to hear what you call yourself if you have a term for what you do.
So I just say that I'm mostly a thrifter. I also go to estate sales, but overall, I just categorize myself as a thrifter.
Okay. And for those listeners that don't know what that is, can you explain that to them?
Oh, yes, sir. So I go to Goodwill. Um, it's just mainly Goodwill or thrift stores, and I will walk inside and I look to try to find items that are sold cheaply, so then I can resell.
Okay.
Obviously for a profit.
So we'll get into the sports memorabilia in a bit, and of course the big find. And I'll go ahead and tease the listeners now if they don't know anything about you. But do you look for things that are non-sports? I assume as well.
I do. I actually started looking. At first, it was vintage clothing. So I know some of your listeners are going to think the '90s isn't that long ago, but that's considered vintage. And
Yeah.
so I started looking for clothing from the '90s and '80s. Some of them have value overall; they really don't. But it just depends on the shirt and the content. And then I branched out in the glassware, like vases, just cool designs or unique designs, I should say. And then I eventually went into books. I could get books that didn't take up a lot of space, and I could flip them very easily. And then I started realizing that, first editions were worth something, even if it has the author's signature, that would create some type of a higher value, just depending on the book and the edition.
Okay. Now, did all this start as a hobby, or did you start from the beginning looking to make money?
I've honestly done it all my life. I would do it with my mother, my father, and my grandfather. My grandfather loved sports. He was an attorney down there on 10th Street in
Yep.
Newport,
Mm-hmm.
and we would, talk a lot about, like, Tommy Helms was a good one. I always tried to find his signature for him, as well as, I guess really a hobby. I didn't think someone can make, a boatload of money from it. I've heard of people, finding rare items, and it'd be their once in a lifetime type of find, and it would give them a good chunk of change. But something that you could really have a business for, I didn't think that was truly possible. So that was a more of a hobby to start out.
Okay. Yeah, I knew your grandfather, Jim. Great man. Hated to see him pass, and that was back what 22 or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, January 19th, 2022.
My gosh, 4 years ago today.
Yeah, 4 years ago today.
Pretty crazy. Well, rest in peace, Jim. I knew him fairly well, being a member of the bar, and he was a good attorney and a good man. So hate to see anyone like that go. But well, let's talk about his love for sports briefly, if you don't mind. All the way around, Reds, baseball, football. What was it?
He loved UC Bearcats.
Okay.
He had a good rapport with Bob Huggins.
Yeah.
I know he did a lot of work with the Cincinnati Reds. He was real familiar with Marge Schott in that era, and his son Robbie was bat boy for the Reds up until '89. So that would have been forgive me if I get the dates wrong, but right around 1986 to 89, he was a bat boy for the Reds. He loved the Cincinnati Reds, even since the 50s when he was born.
Yeah.
I know he did a lot of legal cases with the Cincinnati Bengals and ultimately loved the Bengals. And I'm just all around a Cincinnati sports guy.
If you like the Bengals and the Reds, you're a true sports fan because it's challenging to follow those teams year in, year out with what we suffer with.
Oh, I remember even whenever the Bengals, this would have been, I guess, early 2000s, I guess the Chad Johnson era and Carson Palmer. And
Yeah.
I remember watching the game with him whenever Carson Palmer blew out his knee, and it just seemed like the Bengals were doomed.
Yeah.
And they went to the Super Bowl the year they passed, and it was the year he passed, and it was just really, I guess it was a beautiful moment. I got the call that he was, he was effectively dying whenever I was working at the Bengals stadium when they were playing the Raiders that night.
Okay.
And you could just, when I got that call, it just seemed like everything changed. The energy was different, and it was just really a sight to see them beat the Raiders. Then,
Yeah. Could have had something to do with that, a little higher power.
oh yeah, I truly thought that for a long while.
That's cool. Well, some of these non-sports items, how would you resell those? eBay or Craigslist, or what would you do to get rid of them?
So I guess specifically clothing, I was on Depop for a while. That was specifically for vintage clothing or even modern clothing.
Hmm.
eBay is always a good site, always has been. Uh, Jim always loved to buy his stamps off eBay. So going to eBay and selling pretty much anything except some of the prohibited items, like you can't really sell, gas on there or just things that you can't really own in general.
Yeah.
That's a common, very easy place to sell. I would do a lot on Facebook Marketplace as well.
So that's free, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, if you wanted to advertise, your listing, you could always put that and then it'll take like a promotional fee off there. Now, eBay and Depop, they do charge a small fee. I think it's like 3%,
Mm.
which in the grand scheme of things, if you're running a few hundred items, it's not going to be anything crazy when you're doing 3%. I mean, it will add up over time, but anyone that's wanting to get started, just start with eBay, Depop, and Facebook Marketplace.
Gotcha. Let's talk about some of the smaller sports memorabilia items that you found. Tell me a little bit about those. I've read about them on some of these articles that I've seen, but tell the listeners about some of the things you found and where you found them.
I moved down to eastern Kentucky, right in between Flemingsburg and Mount Sterling, and I would always go to the Moorhead Goodwill. For whatever reason, most Goodwills will research their items and then put them in their like display cabinet. I guess specifically, like I found a box of cards. Some of them were already encased, and it was like $25 for these box of cards. Now, a lot of them were a lot of the junk wax era cards, but underneath you had like a Mickey Mantle game used patch. I found a Yogi Berra autograph baseball in the very bottom of it. Just really odd signatures for a lot of great players that you don't really expect to be in a box.
Stop. I want to stop you there. When you find something like that, how do you authenticate that it was actually used, in a game or worn on a uniform or it was a vintage autograph? How do you verify that type of information?
So I think the Mickey Mantle, I think that was a Panini, if memory serves me right. But I always look for the main brands like Panini and Topps. Now, they're a little bit more reputable. So I just look them up online because there has to be another one out there. Or like specifically, if some of these cards are numbered, like say 1 to 5, odds are one of those other five have been put online somewhere. And I always go with Tops. I mean, you always know that that's legitimate. I've never seen a fake Top signature card. Now, if we're talking about like vintage 30s and 40s and 50s cards with signatures, they need to have a COA from Beckett or a PSA or JSA.
And you can send off for that, and it takes a while though, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes now Beckett does have a quick opinion. If you have something you think is of value and it has a signature on it, you can pay the $10 fee and see if it'll maybe register that those authenticators will believe it's worth sending off.
Okay.
And depending on the player, the prices will vary. I mean, if it's like, let's say Tommy Helm's signature, that's something I wouldn't genuinely send off if it was me,
Yeah.
because that's just so a. He was a good professional player. I think he was the 69 rookie of the year, but it wasn't, it's not a big name like, let's say, Mickey Mantle or anyone that's really going to bring in thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Now, do you do this as your full-time job?
As of right now, I do, yes.
Yeah. So are you going out every day to different places, or do you really have that many that you can visit?
So I go to at least 4 or 5 Goodwills every single day. Now we're in the slow period. Winter is always the worst in terms of selling and finding quality items. Now you can find quality items in the winter, but mainly going to yard sales, estate sales in the summer, you're going to really find a huge inventory that you can be able to sit on and hold throughout these winter months. But for me, I go to Goodwill, whether it be the same Goodwill or different Goodwills, about 4 or 5 times a day.
And do you do that because every day people are bringing stuff to that Goodwill, I guess?
Yes, they all throughout the day. So, like the closest Goodwill is I think Williamsburg, and then it's London. I go to London at this point 5 times a day, and all throughout the day they're just loading more and more items. I guess specifically last week I went on Friday. I found a vintage '90s Elmo shirt. I found a Jim O'Brien, who was I think a sports analyst and a sports writer. I found a signed book of his. I think it was over Art Rooney, and I mean they were selling that for $1.59, and I went there a few times that day already, and it wasn't there. So
Oh my gosh.
you just know they keep adding, and they don't check signatures there on at Goodwill.
Now, let me ask you this. We have a place down at Woodson Bend in Lake Cumberland, and they have on 27 there in Somerset a huge brand new Goodwill, and I, I've never been in it. It sounds like I might want to stop by and check it out. Have you been to that one?
I think they combined two of the county Goodwills into like a mega Goodwill. I've been there a few times, and actually, my girlfriend went there, and in one go, she doesn't go often, not as nearly as often as I do, but she found probably 5 or 6 signatures and books.
Really?
Yeah, and I mean, all of the books all across Goodwill, for the most part, they're $1.59.
And that's pretty much what you limit your searches to is Goodwill?
As of right now, because it's winter.
Yeah.
Now, I will go anywhere. I'll go to some thrift stores. Like I went down to see my dad in Pigeon Forge, and I go to every thrift store down there looking for books, and I can hit 13, 14 thrift stores in an hour.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I'm an idiot, I guess. Do you just Google thrift stores near me and they just pop up?
Literally, yeah, it's that easy. What I do is not hard, it's not proprietary. Anyone can do what I do.
Yeah. Well, you maybe shouldn't say that. You're putting your secret out there. We're going to have all kinds of people going out and searching.
It's okay. I want everyone to be able to make some money if they can. If they find a rare book and I'm not the one to find it, oh well, good for them. If
Yeah.
that helps someone pay a bill or pay their mortgage, by all
Yeah.
means, let's get all that information out there.
So I don't want to ask a stupid question, but I'm going to ask this because I don't know the answer. Are you a sports fan?
Uh, okay, I guess I am. I do love the Bengals, but I don't care for the recent years of the Bengals. But I've learned that I can't hold on to items. I've never been able to hold on to any sports items. I just like to get them. So I will go and support them, the Bengals and the Reds. Always have a love for the Reds. But when it comes to items or things of value from the Reds or Bengals, I don't need to become a hoarder.
Yeah. And that was going to be a question that I was going to ask is, do you keep some of these items? And if so, do you hang them up around your place or no? So I guess not.
The only item I have kept is a Ralph Stanley autograph I bought for 25 cents.
Now, why have you held on to that?
My favorite movie is O Brother Where Art Thou?
Okay.
And he sang "Oh Death," and I mean it's not a super collectible signature, but it's the first time I ever saw it, and that was the cheapest autograph I've ever found.
25 cents. That's funny.
If you are in the market to buy a new home, refinance, or take out an equity line, look no further than in your own community. Lee Whitty, broker and owner of Hometown Mortgage, located in Fort Thomas, Kentucky, has over 22 years of experience helping clients with their mortgage needs. As an independent mortgage broker, Lee Whitty has the ability to shop your loan for the best rates and loan products, which will save you time and money. Give Lee Whitty a call at 859-380-5674 or look him up on Google, where he has over 150 five-star reviews. Lee Whitty of Hometown Mortgage, NMLS 437373.
Well, I gave a little bit of a teaser earlier. I'm going to let you go ahead and tell the story. There is one particular item that I think is notable to talk about, and there are several articles. You've been interviewed by lots of people about this. Why don't you go ahead and tell me the story about that item and how you came about finding it?
All right, I'll tell you from the very beginning, and it may sound egotistical and it may sound, I guess, too good to be true. I really can't believe it still.
I'm sure. It's amazing.
It was last January. I walked into Goodwill and I saw a numerous amount of resellers there that looked specifically for clothing. I asked them if there was anything good, and there was two or three people I asked that day, and they all said, "No, there's nothing here." And me just joking around, I just jokingly said, "You know what? I'm gonna find that great item." And I already know the clothes were picked over and they were looked at, so I don't need to spend and waste my time there. I went over to the books and I saw a 1948 Pittsburgh Pirate book, picked it up. I was going to buy it regardless because I love old books.
Mm-hmm.
And I opened it up, and man, there saw Honus Wagner's signature, and it was to another Pittsburgh Pirate player. When I see that name, especially being a player from the first Hall of Fame baseball class, that's a name everyone looks for. There will always be value there. And I looked at the price, it was $1.59. Couldn't believe it. At first, I truly thought it was fake. So I had him put it up at the counter, paid for it, literally ran to my car and went to, it was about 9 different baseball collector stores. And every single one of them offered me about $1,000 for the book. Sight unseen, whether it was authenticated or not.
Really?
All 9 of them offered me $1,000 and told me I had something special in my hands. Within 30 days, I put it on Reddit, and I honestly didn't expect it to go as viral as it did. And I had like NFL memes share it. I had so many auction houses reach out to me about it. They wanted to display it, and they wanted that to be their centerpiece for their auctions. And I thought it was better off I authenticate it myself, and then I'm sure with enough publicity, I was going to be able to find a buyer. And I ultimately did. It took about 4 months to get a buyer.
Really?
And yeah, they had to get in contact with me and my attorney. I did sign an NDA. I can give over an amount, but I can't give the exact amount in the exact location. But it was to a buyer out of the state of California, and it was over 100,000.
That's unbelievable. $1.59. I would say anyone would take that return on investment every day.
Now, the first week that story aired on, let's say, WKYT is, I believe, the first one that aired, and I think Lex 18, I had someone reach out about an estate sale. And they were literally getting all these items out of a house. And I found it was about 400 books. Gave $100 for these 400 books. And I got to about the 20th, maybe 30th book, and there sat a first edition signed Mickey Mantle book. And so when you boil down the math, 400 books for $100, for about 25 cents, I bought a Mickey Mantle autograph, had it quick opinion Beckett. They said it was likely to pass, and I posted that online, and that 25 cents turned into $1,000.
Oh my gosh. That's another return on investment I'd take.
Yeah, yeah. I considered myself the luckiest man in the state of Kentucky for a long while. Still do. Unbelievable stories.
They both are. And so you've been interviewed by several people. I think even I saw, did Newsweek do an article about you?
Yeah, they did two of them. Because they just couldn't believe someone, you know, on average, I make around 80,000 a year, thrifting. On average, some years I might make 30, some years I might make 150, but on average, I make right at 80,000 a year. And they also posted some of the cards I got. They didn't necessarily post the Honus Wagner story, but I guess so many people did do that. But as of right now, I've done before this one. I did one podcast, and I was interviewed about 30-ish times over all the finds, and I continue to find stuff, but nothing has been quite like the Honus Wagner and Mickey Mantle in that time period.
Well, I would say those are pretty difficult to top, especially the
Yeah.
Wagner autograph. But you're still trying, and there's nothing wrong with trying. To be quite honest with you, I might start trying because I'd love to find something like that, not only for a potential return, but it'd just be such a great feeling to feel like, oh my gosh, I just hit the jackpot. Not only because I love baseball and sports and memorabilia, but the potential of maybe making some money on something that nobody else knew about. Now, these say that Wagner book or the Mantle. Do these places, these thrift stores or Goodwill, do they try to find these things first and keep them out of the regular sales?
Not books.
Not books.
I don't know what it is about books. I think because they get so many book donations that they can't spend days looking for autographs. Now, clothing, they can look and they can see, like, let's say it's a Harley Davidson from the 90s and it has purple lightning on it, or Janko jeans that are worth a few $100s, or even a rare Carhartt. That's easier and more quickly findable to Goodwill instead of these signatures and books, because you're going to have to dedicate someone every single day to look through all these books, and that's just not humanly possible for their setup.
What about other sports memorabilia, if you know? I mean, do they go through cards and look for, oh, this is a rookie card or
If they have sealed boxes, they'll put, in the cases. If they have Pokemon cards, which is another highly collectible item, they'll put those in the special case behind the glass. For whatever reason, this day that I went and I found all those cards, I think they just saw them as junk wax era cards, and I'm sure you know, if you're a sports memorabilia collector, what junk wax era cards are, especially from the late '80s, early '90s. And they saw just a ton of those on top and didn't really want to fool with them because they have no value.
yeah.
And them just tossing out a box was, their loss, my gain. I was willing to shift through. I immediately saw the Yogi Berra ball, and I'm like, all right, I'll buy the whole thing. When they're asking $25 Yogi Berra, I mean, that's $100 or $200 signature, if not more.
Right.
But baseballs, at least in my opinion, are a lot harder to sell than cards.
Now, tell me just if you can briefly how you get a quick opinion to verify. Can you do that online or do you have to mail the item out?
So what I did whenever I did the Beckett Quick Opinion for the Mickey Mantle, I went online, went on Beckett, and they had an option for a quick opinion. You just got to look through the website. I mean, I can't specifically guide someone through it right this very second,
Sure.
but if you're looking to send a card out and you're looking at the grading practices that they have, which they're very upfront with, you'll be able to see exactly how to do a quick opinion. You'll give your name, number, email. You'll upload pictures of said item, which even if you're going to buy items off marketplace, I recommend spending that extra $10 and doing the quick opinion. And you'll get an email that'll say likely to pass authentication.
So it's literally $10 just to get that?
Yeah, yeah. I spent that immediately on the Mickey Mantle book. I mean, that was for me, at least with Mickey Mantle, it is a higher end autograph. Don't get me wrong, but books are in a weird margin. Uh, I took a picture of it. I spent literally $10. So in total, I put $10.25 into that book, and it said likely to pass authentication. I posted it online, showed people, and they were like, "Well, did you send it off?" And I said, "No, but I did do a Beckett Quick Opinion." and that's all they needed.
Is that usually what people want? Is something from Beckett or another organization? I mean, is Beckett usually good enough for a lot of these buyers out there?
So you have your big three is what I like to call them. You have PSA, JSA, and Beckett. Now, PSA is better on the grading. Like, let's say you have a vintage first edition Charizard that you want to get graded. There's no signature on it, but you want a pure grade on the card. Or even a, let's say, Joey Votto rookie card, and you want to get it graded. 10 is the best, 1 is the worst.
Okay.
You would send that out to PSA.
Yeah.
If you want to do an autograph, JSA doesn't do a quick opinion, but them and Beckett are the more, I guess, leaders than PSA when it comes to authenticating signatures.
Gotcha.
But if you get any other COAs from anywhere else, I don't care if you're buying Muhammad Ali and it has Joe Schmo COA. If it doesn't have JSA, PSA, or Beckett, uh, I stay away from those.
I gotcha. Okay. Do you take the time to send cards off to PSA, or do you not really look for cards?
Sometimes I do, but I'm not, my game isn't, will this card get a 10? I mean, for me, it's a lot of hurry up, buy this item, and then wait to get the card back. That's great and all, but I'm not buying these cards for the love of what they come back as, say a 10 or a 9 or an 8. I see it as a lot more risk to me if I'm paying big money on, let's say, a Joe Burrow rookie card. It may look like a 10 to me, but if it comes back a 9 or an 8, you're losing out on thousands of dollars. I can't quite grasp that information. I wouldn't recommend it for people that don't know exactly what they're looking for,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just more about the autographs for me.
So how far will you travel currently in what you're doing to a thrift store?
Mainly Tennessee. I've been up to the bins in Ohio. Now, estate sales, yard sales, I'll travel all of 27 on that giant yard sale. It don't bother me. I'll do that over 3 days.
Yeah.
If I see a rare item on Facebook Marketplace, I have no problem traveling California, Washington, New York, Florida. It doesn't matter to me. I'll go to it if I can make money on it.
Yeah.
Um, like I have a California trip coming up. I'm going to take my girlfriend with me. We're going to stop in Guston, Texas, pick up some rare antique TVs, deliver them to Fort Worth, Dallas area, and then pick up more vintage antique TVs and take them out to Fresno, California.
Wow. And you get to see the country, the United
Yeah,
States at the same time.
get paid to travel. I mean, I think that should be everyone's goal and dream if that's what they're into.
Absolutely. No.
I travel all over the country pretty frequently for these finds or transporting these rare items.
Well, it's pretty cool. I've learned a lot just in the half an hour that we've spent on the phone, and I'd like to keep the communication going because it's an interesting topic, and you've got my interest peaked. And quite frankly, next time I'm down in Somerset, I'm stopping by that thrift stores or the Goodwill to see if I can find anything, and you'll be the first one that I reach out to let you know, hey, guess what I found? Thanks a lot. I appreciate the tip.
Oh, anytime now. If you're looking for a quick sell, I'll always be interested.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can start a little barter back and forth. I like it. Well, any advice to those that might want to start dabbling into this business?
So if you're in it purely for the money and it's like a desperation, don't expect to get rich right away. You got to inform yourself of what, let's say, vintage clothing. You have to know what tags you're looking for. You have to know what content you're looking for. Autographs, you have to know your resources of where you can send them off to, where you can get them authenticated in your channels to sell. If you come in blindly and you start spending thousands of dollars hoping you'll get rich, you're going to burn it very quickly.
Yeah.
You just got to do research and research, look at upcoming trends with clothing. You just have to educate yourself. And I would like to shout out Highlands and specifically my history teacher or government teacher, Mr. Hills, and principal at the time, Mr. Robinson. I was not very good in school at all. It just never piqued my interest. I even went to college, went to trade school, uh, but Highlands at least taught me that if you work hard, you study. Maybe I didn't realize it at the time, but they gave me the skills to be able to find that information out.
Yeah.
If you don't stop what you're doing and you keep building upon what you're doing, the sky's the limit, really. You create your own destiny.
Well, I think that's great. The shout out is very much appreciated. I'm sure from both of them and the school in general. I went to Highlands, and I actually am pretty good friends with Brian Robinson. Coached his son Nick in baseball as well as his son Jacob, and Nick is great friends with my son Matthew, and so is Abe Hills, who is Mike's son. Small world, as we all know, especially when you're from Fort Thomas and or Campbell County.
Yeah.
Those are two great guys that have done a world of things for the school system. Mike's retired now, but Brian's still plugging along up here. And I'll make sure that I pass it along in case they don't listen to this. I know Brian's listened to it before, but I will pass along the shout out that you gave during this interview.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, the Fort Thomas school systems in general, if anyone's listening, thinking of, coming to Fort Thomas, you really can't find a better education anywhere else. And a lot of my family likes to say, if you go to Fort Thomas, you're going to get an education whether you want to or not
Yeah.
by force, but just the way they approach teaching. It's just truly remarkable. And I contribute a lot of my success to that school system and to those individuals named. And I'm just forever grateful for my time being there at Highlands. And I want to wish everyone from the class of 2017, I think you had Kyle Rust on,
Yeah.
and he talked about his heart story.
Yep.
uh, I just want to wish him continued success. Keep sharing that story, and everyone else to the class of 2017. I just wish you guys nothing but the best.
Well, thanks again for your time. I hope to stay in touch with you, and good luck to you and your trip out to California and safe travels. And I hope that the next $100,000 autograph is found by you sometime in the near future.
Well, I sure hope so, and I appreciate that. I do appreciate you having me on today, and you'll be the first one I'll contact when I do find that big find.
Absolutely. And it sounds like another episode. Well, thanks again. You guys enjoy your trip to California.
Appreciate you.